Hello, everyone. Can I get everyone's attention, please? We're going to start in about 30 seconds, so just kind of wrap things up. To start things off, if you guys have any questions throughout the debate, you can tweet us at Northerner Media and use the hashtag SGA Elections 14. And the second half of this debate today, we will be taking your own questions and asking them, so make sure to tweet us, or we'll go around with the mic and you guys can ask then. So to start off today, I'll just introduce us. My name is Kevin Schultz. I'm the editor of The Northerner. This is Tori Lenz. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Tori Lenz. I'm a staff writer at The Northerner, and I've covered a lot of SGA-related topics and events, such as the Fall Campus Safety Walk.
All right. And then down here with The Northerner, we have Ricky Cracchiolo, who is our news editor, and then we have Chanel Carr, who is our promotions director. Awesome. Cool. All right, so we just set up this debate today so everyone can make more informed decisions when they go to vote for the SGA election, which is on Wednesday and Thursday. So definitely feel free to ask questions, get to know the candidates so you can make the best decision possible. So from that, does anyone have any questions? Any candidates have any questions before we start off? Yep.
Are you only allowed?
No, we're gonna go around two and ask you. If you don't want to speak in front of everyone, you can just tweet it in. Cool. All right, so how this is going to work is we're going to ask questions. We have about 7 that we came up with, and the candidates are going to have 2 minutes to respond. And then after that, the opposing group will have a 2-minute rebuttal time. And then after that, the same rules will apply when we start getting into student questions. So with that, we'll go ahead and start. Oh.
Have a coin toss?
Whoops. Okay, first we're going to have a coin toss to see who gets to go first, though.
Need a quarter?
Anybody
I have a penny. Is that anywhere?
That works.
All right.
Lincoln's pretty honest.
Who wants to call it?
Heads.
Heads.
Tails never fails.
Tails and fails.
It's heads.
All right. Well, we'll go first. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We win. I'm keeping this penny.
Okay, after we read the question, you guys, you'll have 2 minutes after the end of the question. Cool.
Student body leaders encounter many strong influences on an almost daily basis. How do you plan to specifically represent all students equally, including the large majority of non-traditional and commuter students? And what exactly does properly representing these students mean to you?
I guess I'll talk first. Something that we've done this year is to try, we've appointed a lot of new senators. Over half of our Senate was appointed this year. And of those appointments, we try to appoint a lot of international students. We have Julian Jennerlich, Elizabeth Akinati, as well as many others, as well as people who are not in Greek life. Brendan Schrank was also appointed this year, as well as a few others. So we definitely try to get a voice from a lot of different opinions in that regard. What would you like?
A few things that we're trying to pursue, especially with going forward into next year, is something like the rideshare program that's specifically targeted to not campus centralization. It is actually reaching out to the community to better affect just making the expensive commuting and experience a little bit better. Also, just having a little bit more of a PR presence that will also allow people to be acknowledged who maybe pass by the monitors in the SU every day, but we still want those students to be as equally engaged as anyone who lives in the residence halls. So just looking at different policies to engage commuter students.
Got it?
All right, John or Kat, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes. Okay, so one thing that we really want to do is kind of bridge the gap between all the students and organizations. So how we're going to do that is to actually go to the students directly, go to their meetings, meet with them in the library, in the student union, go and actually talk to you and get your views instead of like having you guys come to us all the time. So that way we can actually hear what you guys have to say firsthand. We also want to do Norse boards, which is kind of like Democracy Square in the library, where you guys can write your opinions and then we'll check them out every week and bring them up at meetings. And then we want to use Facebook, WNKU, the Northerner, and really utilize that to get the word out to students and communicate with you guys through that. So whether you live on campus, you're a commuter, you're still getting the same information.
Well, first of all, as well, I just want to thank everybody for coming out here. I know we didn't get a chance to have our opening statement, but it really does mean a lot for you students to come out here and express your concern for us. But to go back to the topic on this, to reach out to the students is one of the hardest questions in student government that we have to do. And that's why I think Kat and I are pretty a solid team when it comes to this, just because of how diverse we are already involved in different parts of the campus to reach out to those students. Kat is a commuter. Technically, I'm a commuter, even though I live across the street. But we have these different perspectives that we can bring to the student government and get those ideas passed through. Another thing that Justin hit on was the rideshare program. That was actually a resolution that myself, Mr. Peterson, and a few other senators have wrote when we were a freshman 4 years ago. And that was something that we tried to pass and something that we really worked hard on. But the problem with that is the liability issue that the university can't back up. Also, with the PR plan, we just want to really hit on the Norse Board's idea where we can come out there and just provide a single effort to reach out to these students to voice out their concerns about us.
Now Kat and John will have the opportunity to respond first. What do you feel are the most pressing issues NKU and its student body are faced with today, and why?
One of the biggest issues that I believe that our student body needs to get fixed and to have somebody represent them for right now is the advocacy for our student rights in Frankfort. I myself, when elected as student body president, will have the current experience that built relationships with the current legislators in Frankfort. One of the biggest problems I think that came out actually today was the fact that our capital project, which is the Health Innovation Center, got cut from a committee in the Senate. And I believe that one of the main reasons for that was there wasn't hardly any advocacy from our student body and the rest of the student body across the state to push forward that motion. And I believe that when I have this job, that's something that I'm really, really gonna be number one on my priority list, because as student regent, that's something that you have to do.
Yes, and then to go off to that, one thing that I'm very passionate about that I think is a very important topic is the communication between organizations and getting more people involved, so you don't have the commuter students that just, you know, go home and go to class. I want everyone to be involved and everyone know what's going on campus, and so I think that would be my main push.
Justin and David, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes, we do. All right, to go off of advocacy for the university as far as Health Innovation Center and speaking in Frankfort, we have a great organization on campus called Community Ambassadors, whose main goal and objective is to go to Frankfort, is to talk to the student body. We are, as a student government, are supporting their efforts, but we don't want to steal their thunder. They have a bunch of students who are loving and willing and have internship opportunities through Community Ambassadors to go and speak on behalf of the students, as well as to get students to come. We are there to support them, but we are not there to steal their thunder. We are definitely a supporting unit, not the main unit behind just for advocacy of the university. As far as putting the organizations together,
all right, David, I'm going to have to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, 2 minutes,
Ricky.
Betty Mulkey does a great job.
Oh, okay, sorry, go ahead.
All right, moving on.
Don't raise your hand.
There's a great website called OrgSync. It definitely needs more work, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of hiccups with it and trying to get people to properly use it. Betty Mulkey, the head of pretty much all of student life, is really, I mean, she is a paid person who's in charge of putting together and making sure that the organizations correspond with each other, to not put calendars, try to best not to overlap events and things like that. So we do a pretty good job of communicating with organizations, and we definitely want to get the people that aren't in organizations involved on campus. That is a lot of our focus as well, is to get people who don't have a voice and make sure that they have a voice as well.
One thing that I also want to bring up is, speaking of community ambassador, that is something I'm actually involved in. After I lost the SGA presidency last year, that's something that I really wanted to emphasize on helping as an organization, which I believe we did. We made a lot of noise this year in Frankfort. Actually got a lot of the senators to wear bow ties on a Tuesday because of our efforts. And I think that's, I mean, a small feat, but I'm pretty impressed to get a senator to wear bow ties for the whole day. And it's building relationship with those senators is what I'm trying to talk about. And the thing is, I just remember last year on this specific debate we had, because this year is a budget year for the Frankfort Assembly, and the fact is that we were supposed to have a rally for higher education, but we didn't, and that's something that we should have had.
All right, David, do you have some?
The Rally for Higher Education was voted on by the entire state. Every single student body president of every state college voted against having a rally because the state representatives that were there, and then finding a date where every university could go and meet for our rally just wasn't possible. We could not meet our calendars with spring break and things like that. And the state representatives didn't see a point in it. They weren't going to listen to what they want to listen to is making phone calls, going face-to-face meetings. That's what's going to listen to. That's what's going to make things happen, not a rally. It's just talking to deaf ears if you have a rally.
All right. David and Justin first. What do you plan to do about the 5% increase in tuition due to things such as the $5 million increase into the Kentucky education retirement system?
That definitely sucks, no doubt about it. It affects all of us. It affects our tuition. It'll probably be going up probably about $200. There'll all be classes that'll be canceled. Faculty members will have to be let go. Hours have to change and things like that because of $5 million being taken out of our budget. And what we're trying to do is find new ways to kind of bring money back to the university. We're passing a resolution right now about water conservation, putting in more water bottle filter stations across campus, thus saving on the amount of water that we use, and thus bringing some more money back. Come back to the university without using as much water. And you wanted to.
Also, I do believe that branding of the university has a lot to do with getting more and more money from like alumni and stuff. If we start taking pride in our very campus, then that like exerts whenever everyone graduates off, they are more willing to give back and back. And once you have these relationships built with and once you are able to build relationships not only with alumni but also reaching out with our North Rates partners, we can start channeling these relationships that bring money into us that also helps build our university and build a stronger sense of community here in North.
In response to the 5%, is that what you said, the 5%?
5% increase.
Well, like what I said, with right now actually it just happened today where that capital projects or university projects got cut out. The only thing that the Senate committee actually gave to us was the 2.5%. So it's something that saying, okay, we'll take your project out, but here you can have your 2.5% back. I mean, it's still like saying, okay, well here you can have everything you want, or we'll take everything you want, but here you can have a piece of candy. That's basically what the Senate's offering us right now, is that 2.5% back. So I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, on how that's going to affect the whole tuition increase next year just because of how it came out today.
And I agree actually with what Justin said about going out to the community, and we need to enforce those North Rates, and we need to continue doing that and getting more sponsorships and getting the community involved with our school, because I mean we are Northern Kentucky and we can't be the university without the community around us, so we need to kind of drag them in and get them more involved in what we're doing here on campus.
Going off with North Race, we do now have Firehouse Subs and City Barbecue being a part of North Race. City Barbecue is actually giving 15% instead of the regular 10%, so go there and use your all card.
All right. John and Kat first. What are your views on the possibility of the Health Innovation Center and its potential use of the preserved $97 million previously set aside by NKU?
Well, back to that same answer I just had because of how it came out today. I'm advocating for Health Innovation Center. I believe that's an important thing, especially not only for our university, but for our community area. This is something that'll bring a lot of people to our university, because just like Griffin Hall, how it's one of the most top buildings in the state, this is going to be exactly like that. But unfortunately, sometimes without advocacy or something that builds around with it, it just gets cut. And now we have to go back to square one and hopefully work with the legislators again, making sure that this is something that we pass again.
And I think that, obviously it's a great thing to support this Health Innovation Center, because this is not only going to bring an extra dynamic to Northern Kentucky University, it's a very, very highly employable field where, health sciences is a large part of the national debate right now, and having that professional experience will also not only bring more students into us, deflecting people who go to UK for similar programs. You'll keep your students here. You'll build something more for this university. It's going to be very similar to Griffin Hall, where and so many of you here are involved in some way to Griffin Hall and to informatics, and you'll be able to find jobs that way. That's what this university is trying to do. It's helping you, bringing something to help you guys out. And I think that's one thing that we really need to stick behind, is that We want to have things that will lead to a future, not only for us, for the university.
Talking about informatics and health, I mean, those are the two most grossing majors that are out there. And if you want to talk about return on investment to university, having a health innovation center will bring so much, not only to jobs just to build the building itself, but to the amount of majors. We can turn our pre-pharmacy major into an actual pharmacy major, bring in more nursing majors, bring in more all kinds of doctorate majors and things like that. It'll be an awesome, awesome opportunity through that.
And also with the Health Renovation Center, it'll bring a great way, reaching out to the community, like we were talking about the question before. It's a great marketing tool, and it's also a great way to interact with high schoolers. A lot of our high schools actually use our recreation center specifically for the pool and the diving boards. And I know fact from diving in high school and coming here to NKU, being able to come be on our campus and use our facility does make an impact on people's decisions. And I know that we use that a lot as a marketing tool, and I think that just having the new Health Innovation Center will bring even more of that.
David and Justin, in the event of a controversial outbreak, such as the recent postponement of the fast food chain town hall due to its inclusion of Chick-fil-A, what would your plan be to deal with such an event and why?
Well, the way it was handled was probably the best way it could possibly handle it was to postpone it. We were not aware of the extreme, I guess, outrage. We were expecting, okay, we'll get a lot of student concerns, we'll have all kinds of students come, but then all of a sudden Channel 9 News contacted us. We're like, wait a minute, what? And so we're like, okay, let's push this back, let's think ahead. Okay, let's create a list of 15 restaurants that we could choose from, and then have the students choose their top 3. There'll be a survey going out here in the next week that you can pick your top 3 restaurants. One of those restaurants, Chick-fil-A is still on the list, so if you want Chick-fil-A, you can choose it, but you have other ones to choose from. There's like McAllister's. My personal favorite, Steak and Shake, is on the list. What? Steak and Shake in SU? Boom, crazy. But I'm saying all that to say that, you know, the way we're handling it now is the most appropriate way to handle a stressful, crazy situation is postpone it, think about it. Okay, why didn't it work? Oh, let's think about some more opportunities. Let's send out a survey, see what the students want to say, and then come back with the town hall. We're having the next town hall April the 7th, for not only Chick-fil-A, but to discuss the other restaurants, students only. And so the best way to handle any situation is to think about what went wrong, end it right in the bud, right when the spark starts. Don't let the fire start to flame, and just go from there.
And also, the perception that that Chick-fil-A was the only option or was a for sure deal was, I think, misrepresented or miscommunicated. It wasn't at all. It was supposed to be a conversation about a branding, or the branding topic was only one certain aspect of that debate. I think that kind of got blown out of proportion. And then once that does, you get meaningful feedback by survey, and then you have a better structured forum, and where you are opening the field to a lot of different discussion. Also, we were trying to ensure that students there was no faculty influencing, faculty planning on coming to the town hall to influence any of the student voice, because that's not what we're here to field. We're here to field your guys' responses.
When it comes to that issue, I would have totally done the opposite. I would have actually kept the program going, because I think that when you have a discussion this high-powered and high-impact, and if the news wants to get involved with it, I think it brings better PR for our student government, because it is our job to handle that kind of discussion in a way where we're just going to be the middle of it. If people decide to come in there and voice their concern, that is their right to. We are just a student government. We are supposed to handle all these kind of responses, good or bad, and pass that on to the administration. If there were concerns that faculty were going to come, it's easy. This is a student government forum for students only. You have your own faculty senate, you complain to them. This is what students want. This is what students are having pressing issues right now, and that's something that we have to take action on, is what the students want, not what we think is right. Because, I mean, if you're trying to put the fire out, by the time you're trying to have an active discussion on something, they're not going to want to come again because they've already lost their cool on it. This is something that the student body wants, and if it's going to cause a lot of controversy or whatever, so be it. That's what student government is here for.
For clarification, it was President Mearns and Dean Wapel's decision to postpone it, so if you have an issue, take it up with him.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a student forum where it's in our Constitution to have a student forum at that specific time. And if you can't handle it, then I don't think that you should be in for that job.
Email President Mearns.
I will, thank you.
Okay, moving on.
John and Kat, how do you plan to support students in their academic endeavors? And what are some examples of these plans?
Very good question there. I think that when it comes to academic concerns and things like that, one of the things that we want to look at right now is having more study desks or study rooms in the library, which we have which is kind of lacking right now. And if that, also with our PR plan, we want to spotlight different organizations and different kind of different ideas where we can push that issue.
And along with the study rooms, we want to kind of work with, we have the library right now that's open different hours, and it's open much later during finals week and midterms week and throughout the year. But we want other buildings to be open like that as well, just so there's more opportunity for you to go places. And so if we can't get the study rooms in the library, you have other places where you can go and meet with other people.
Okay. I don't have a rebuttal, just to talk about what the things that we're working on and things that we want to push. What we want to push an A+ grade possibility. We talked about this last year and we're trying to push it this year and it's not going through, so we're going to keep pushing it until it does. What an A+ is, if you get a B+, you get a B-, you get a C+, you get a C-, but there's no A+. So if you get 100, you're getting the same grade as someone gets a 94, unless you're in the Chase College of Law program, which means if you get between 90 and 100, you get a 4.333. And so we see there's an issue with that. And say, if we can't have an A+, then let's get rid of the pluses and minuses altogether. So an A is an A, a B is a B, a C is a Z. Screw that noise. These minuses and pluses aren't working. Another thing that we're working on as far as student success, there's a Green Dot initiative that's going across campus right now, at least it's beginning to. That we just got some more grant money to help push that. What that Green Dot initiative is to raise awareness on domestic violence and sexual abuse and child abuse and make a voice for students that are going through that and may not necessarily feel like they have a voice or a place where they can go to talk about things like that. So we're trying to raise this Green Dot initiative in that sense.
Also, one thing that we're going to continue to pursue is our dedication to providing some sort of student support during midterms and finals week. We played around with a few options through that, through a resolution that we proposed last year. And that's just whether that's providing coffee for you guys to stay awake for long periods of time during midterms week. Otherwise, maybe we'll get you guys some school supplies, something that we've already have allocated in our budget, and just maximizing the effect that we have during the most critical times of your semester. Also, do you want to talk about this right now? We are proposing using having a best NKU experience scholarship, and this is designed to, SGA has a certain amount of money allotted, and making a scholarship for those who've really found a home here at NKU, whether or not they've thought they have, just sharing positive experiences to increase morale, and also offer a more friendly environment through here, and also that money would be able to use for someone to continue their academic success, whether used for books or tuition, whatever.
Kat and I actually agree on the part of the A+ too, but the question of the matter is, it's been done for 2 years. It's been pushed for 2 years, and we want to push it again. And I understand the question, the comment behind and the contrast and the discourse on it, but the fact of the matter is, if it hasn't passed in 2 years, what's the tipping point that's going to make it pass again this year? Because if 2 years ago there was some student backing onto it, but if there's hardly any student support on it, then of course Faculty Senate's not going to push onto something. Midterm grades passed for over a few years of pushing for it because we kept building and building student support on it. Same as way for the syllabus bank, and that's when I was in student government 2 years ago. This year they already passed an initiative for the A+, and what needs for it to be another year to push for something like that, where there's other priorities that this campus really wants to hit on, especially like you said, dining, and there's other parking concerns out there as well. So I think this is something that if students really want to push for it, then when elected student body president, we're going to build the student support behind it and take it to Faculty Senate and say, hey, this is really what students want, and we're tired of you pushing it back to the back burner, and we got to get this done.
And we agree also with the scholarships and grants. We had on our platform that we would also like to create more scholarships and grants for students. We do have book grants through the bookstore, but we want to add on to that to give you more money, so you can't, if you don't need money to buy your books, maybe you can get the money for something else like tuition.
Who here has midterm grades? Just raise your hand. Everyone does. That was a resolution that was passed 5 times. It took 5 years to get midterm grades. So we passed it 1 year, had to wait. Passed another year, we had to wait. Until finally faculty was like, screw it, fine, take it, you can have it, God, leave us alone. we have to continue to push things over and over again. We can't just say, screw it, we're not going to get A+. We can't just give up on something once we start it. We've got to continue pushing it and not stop, because if it's something the students want, then by golly, we cannot give up on it. Just like we didn't give them up on midterm grades, we're not going to stop pushing the A+ policy.
Nobody's giving up on it. We're just saying that this is something, is this what a lot of students really, really want? And do we have information that backs that up? I mean, where's your survey? How do we know that this is top priority for the student body? And I
Like
don't
A+.
think it is.
Anybody want that A+?
See? I mean,
At least
this is
half.
something that we pushed for 2 years, and half of the
Okay, I'm
students
gonna
can't
have
even
to
agree
cut you
on it.
guys off. Sorry. All right. Just to be fair. All right, and we have one last question.
David and Justin, if you could make one change to NKU, what would it be and why?
Change NKU. You want
I do believe that one thing that I would like to certainly change about NKU's culture is that a lot of people feel like this is maybe a second option. I want NKU to instead be a destination. I don't believe that we are best utilizing our branding and our image in the community to really draw in people. There's a lot of really great things going on in this campus. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of it. A lot of you guys are actually very involved. Just look at your own personal experiences. I mean, how many places can you be involved in Greek life and be involved heavily in the arts as well, have all these opportunities in informatics and all these beautiful, beautiful things to study abroad even. I just don't think that it is shown, and everyone takes a little bit for granted. We have one of the highest return on investments, or the highest return on investment of any state university in Kentucky, and I think that's something to be very proud of, that people are getting a real education here, coming out in this community and making real difference and really making a change. And I think that that has not been addressed and needs to be touted a little bit more. And I think once people know that this is a destination, that know this is a powerful structure, that we can take pride in our athletics and our campus and just really start to grow this university. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have read the strategic plan or even believe in the Fuel the Flame motto that President Mertens has put forth. But I really do believe that we're building a fire here, and people are going to start taking notice, and I would really like to see that happen.
End of report.
Sorry. Talk a lot.
Can you repeat the question, please, if you don't mind?
Sure. If you could make one change to NKU, what would it be and why?
I would have to agree with the culture part of it, especially for our student body. And I think this is a great way to do it with Student Government Association. Us, when we get elected in the student government, we really want to reach out to the students, to the student organizations, to the people who are involved in this campus and making it great. We want to reach out to them and hear out their concerns. Because right now, we're just waiting for people to come to student government and tell us what to do, instead of actually reaching out to those people, to those organizations, and ask them specifically, hey, how can we improve this university? Please tell us how. We're all ears. And I think that's something that we have to change first, is to be a listening kind of government rather than taking action on something that we have no idea on what we're taking action on. So I think that's something that we really want to push for when Kat and I get this office.
All right. We had planned to have opening statements at the beginning of this debate, but we skipped over it. So if now you would like to formally introduce yourselves and summarize your platform before we move on to the next round. So we could start with John and Kat, since Justin and David had the last question.
Okay, well, hello. My name is Catherine Hahnel, and I'm a sophomore. Thank you guys for coming out here. I am a double major in vocal performance and accounting, so I have a business and music background. I've been in SGA for the past 2 years, so I've served on the financial committee, on both of those years. One resolution that I am very proud of is I actually partnered with Matt Frentz on. It was the meal plan resolution, where we got the meal swipe and Einsteins and the different dining options open later in the student union. And then I'm very passionate about SGA and getting the organizations more involved on campus. If anyone talks to me, that's kind of like my huge goal. It's just kind of build the bridge, between all the different organizations and all the different students here. And I feel like we need to give the students a voice. Like, you guys have a voice, and we need to listen to it.
Well, and I'm John Jose. For people who don't know me, I'm running for your student body president once again. I say once again because I ran for this position last year. I know what the job entails. I know how hard the job can be, and I know the specifics of the job as well. And I'm a candidate that's ready for it. Losing last year actually built me to become a better person and a better leader. it took me a chance to step back and reflect on what this campus really needs. And to be honest with you, I never had the intention of running for student president again until a few weeks ago, when a lot of students have come up to me and asked, hey, are you gonna run again? The current race is unopposed. And I said, no, I think the current student government's doing a fine job, this and that. And they have these pressing issues that they came up and talked to me. And if I'm the person who's almost, well, getting close to getting done with their college career and have accumulated a lot of achievements and a lot of experience from this university, and if I can't pay back my fellow students on something that I'm very passionate about and something that I really want to work hard for in the name of students, then by golly, I shouldn't have even gone to this school. And with that, thank you.
Well, my name is David Trump, and I am running for president of student government. Thanks for coming out. I've been in student government for 3 years now. I started out as a senator. I helped in 3 different resolutions. I was Secretary of Administration, which was just in positions last year, working on budget as well as keeping track of minutes and agenda. And this year, I'm Vice President. So I've spent my majority of my semester, the past year, going to faculty senate meetings and creating a relationship with faculty, knowing them on a first name basis. That way, they know me that if I do get chosen to be president, I already have that relationship set with them, and I don't have to start anew. I don't have to start fresh. I've been seeing the issues that have been coming up in student government for the past 3 years now. I haven't taken a break. I have kept with it. I have kept focused. I came into college wanting to be a leader and wanting to make a difference. I don't go anywhere in life without making my impact, without making a difference, without making my voice heard. I chose to be an orientation leader because I wanted to affect the current students in NKU. I'm choosing and desiring to be the president of student government so I can make an impact on future students of NKU. So that 5 years, 25 years from now, if I have a son or a daughter that comes to NKU and they'll say, Dad, I have an A+, awesome. Thank you. That's all I have to say about that.
My name is Justin Wynne. I am I guess I'm a sophomore here. I do international studies and journalism. I've been in SGA for 2 years. I was a senator my freshman year, and through that I actually was on John's committee, University Improvements, where I led the campus safety walk, and that gave me a lot of really nice insight to not only managing and organizing through administration, but also reaching out to hear real student concerns. And that was a very nice experience, because if you thought something was dangerous, if you really thought like something about NKU really wanted to be changed, physically wanted to be changed, then that was brought to me and I got to entertain it and the feasibility with the administration. That was a really nice experience. In my second year, this year, I've been Secretary of Administration. Like, amongst other duties, you have to take minutes, you have to monitor the budget, but I also have gotten the chance to have a lot of influence in the application process, and that has led to our SGA is one of the most diverse that it's been in a lot of years, and that was through a lot of good conversations, sitting down, taking the interview process seriously on my part, and really opening it up to discussion. And I think we've come away with a very nice representation, something that isn't skewed by just who has the most friends or who has the most influence on campus. Of the whole.
All right, thank you. For this next part of the debate, we're actually going to be taking questions from all of you. Rob, did you need something? Yeah. If you have any questions, you can just raise your hand and then we'll select you to come up to the mic. We're going to be switching back and forth between in-person questions and on Twitter, so just know if you want to come up here. But we'll start with in-person question. We just ask that your questions contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. And with that being said, I will come around and get you to come up here. Does anyone have questions now? We'll start here. You want to come up and ask?
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Johnson. As the incumbent University Improvements Chair and a senator in the student government, I'm very passionate about our duty, which is to be the voice of the students. My question for both slates is, can each slate, if elected, please further elaborate on what you plan to do to reach out to the students in detail? I know you guys mentioned specifically having students actually go to organizations. Please just elaborate on that. Sure.
Okay. So going off of what he started is having students actually, our senators go to you guys through your organizations. So each senator would be assigned kind of like different organizations that they are not already affiliated with to go and listen to their concerns. So they can ask them, you know, what can we do for you? Is there anything that needs improvement? How is SGA doing? Because we do need an outside look of how we're doing. We can't always notice everything from the inside. So that would be one big thing, is going to them. We would also encourage people to come to our meetings so that, you know, they can see what's going on, they can hear what resolutions we're passing, and then we want to have what's North Sports. I know we briefly mentioned this before, and it would be kind of like Democracy Square in the Student Union, where you guys could write any concerns, any ideas, anything you have like that on those boards, and we'll bring them to meetings. And then we also want to, if we're elected, we want to have a column in the Northerner where we will write to you guys, you know, once a month or every time there's a resolution coming out about what's happening, what resolutions are being passed. That way you guys know what's actually going on. We want to kind of break down that the barrier between students and student government and make everything a lot more transparent.
Kat hit it right on the head, where she says we have to report back what we have done to the student body. I think that's something that student government hasn't really done in a few years, to report back to the students of what we've done and what we're planning on accomplishing. Because like I said, this is going to be something, when we're elected, it's going to be much more unified, where we can all move this together and we're all on the same page when it comes to specific issues, so that you guys as students will be informed and be much more educated on the different topics that come out. And you might even give us some very, very important feedback that we have no idea of hearing until you come up and tell us about it. So we're really trying to come out there and reach out to listen to you guys. We're trying to have this listening tour where we come right after the elections and talk to the specific organizations on how we can help them.
David and Justin, did you want to answer?
Yes.
And I agree that we need to kind of broaden the feed, like the channels for relaying information between students, and then also SGA to students and students to SGA. I believe that that can be done with a very aggressive PR campaign of constantly, you know, making resolutions visible, like not posting them just on OrgSync internal matters, but really broadcasting it out on social media. I mean, it's a public document and it might as well be seen by everyone. Also, embracing PR, just having a constant presence through social media. I mean, most of you guys are here today because you saw it on either our sharing on social media or just any of those things. And that's really how you're going to address a commuter students. I mean, not everyone is in an organization here on campus. I mean, there's, we are trying to build that relationship, but there's a lot of people who go from classroom to parking lot. And how are you going to contact those people? You're going to have it on the things that they check most, you know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever else you might use, or even on through the N3. So using these engaging modes of communication, we can also promote our town halls, where you can actually come, stay after school for a half an hour, and come talk to us one-on-one. Just being very, very open and ready for communication. I mean, everyone saw how the town hall with considering Chick-fil-A as a branding option, how that went. I think that those conversations need to be had, and we should always promote that students have their say in it, whether it's on social media or actually here in this room talking about it.
And as president, I only have to take 16 credit hours after graduate. And what that means is I'm taking 12 in the fall and 12 in the spring, giving me plenty of time to focus on student government and the things that I want to do as president. One of those things I want to do is to sit down monthly with every single senator that is in the organization, 15 to 30 minutes in my office, sitting down and talking about the things that the organizations they're involved in, the communities they are around, how are they utilizing those opportunities they are in outside of SGA to bring in that voice, and just kind of use that time to focus on the students that they are around, thus opening SGA into a much wider audience than it already is.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take a question from Twitter. College Republicans tweeted at us and said, how will the candidates address further civic engagement on NKU's campus?
Civic engagement, you mean as in people that, can you explain civic engagement, whoever made the tweet?
It's basically like community engagement, getting the community involved.
All right, getting the community involved in the school. Like I said, meeting with the senators who are from different communities all across the state, commuters as well, seeing if there's any students that they interact with that could use help, could use SGA in some way. Don't leave yet, and just like continuing with the Norse rates, continuing getting more organizations and restaurants involved. Megan Murray's done a great job this year of getting different restaurants and things involved with that. And do you have anything to add?
One of the things when I was actually in student government, I had this idea where it kind of came up because I know a lot of different schools around the state actually have this kind of idea, and it's a commuter student association. It's such an open kind of thing where it's just something that we've kind of briefly touched on and kind of hit up on just because of my fellow colleagues in other university in that same position had to deal with something like that. So, you know, if it's we really want to engage in community and get their response on something like this. Maybe creating a commuter student association might be that organization where the commuter students who are the classroom parking lot students might come and try to engage with us. So those are basic steps that we can take because, like, I mean, Justin said, it's one of the hardest things in student government to do is how do we get people involved that are classroom parking lot students? And I think that's maybe a good baby step in a way to do it. And another thing would be probably sponsoring a lot more community events, saying the student government agrees with your event and your participation in this kind of event, and that might get them to get engaged more with our university.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience right now? Eric?
Okay.
Sorry, Justin.
Sure do hope so.
Oh, you shouldn't doubt me, John Jose. No, so I guess one of the biggest responsibilities that you'll have when you're the student government president, whichever one of you is elected, is serving on the board. And with serving on the board, you are tasked with making some very, very tough choices. Having the choice to vote to raise tuition, having the vote to go tobacco-free. And not all of those decisions are popular decisions. I know there are probably people in here who disagree with decisions that I've made. I want to hear your thoughts on how you go through the decision-making process to make controversial choices and how you engage buy-in from all of your constituents.
I think one way to do that, and I've been exposed to a bunch of different kind of experiences like that this spring, actually. Like I keep mentioning, I've been interning in Frankfort for the state capitol, and that's one of the biggest and best experiences I've had because I've learned how to deal professionally in a professional way and how to interact with people of higher, I guess, statures of in their life. But the thing about making decisions as well, I think you have to mostly frame your mind on what you think the students have in mind for that. If you don't know, ask students. Gather a bunch of comments and questions and, you know, hold this forum with the students and tell them, hey, this is a decision that I might have to make. Tell me the good and the bad of it, and then you do that for a lot of different organizations. And then you, as a student leader, should make that decision based off what the students want, because you are a representative of the students into that board of regents, and you have to answer the way your student population wants you to answer. And if you stick with that, then I think I could, if I make the decision based off what the students want, then I think I can sleep well at night just because this is what they wanted.
As a board of regent, you do have to make some tough decisions, such as raising tuition prices as well as tobacco ban and things like that. And when it comes to raising the tuition, say $200, you know, it's a state thing. The state is saying you're going to have to pay an extra $5 million, and we've got to find ways for that money to come out. We're canceling classes. We're having to let go of professors, and $200 is something that is going to happen. And sometimes you have to make decisions that the students don't want, but you have to make decisions that will keep the university remain competitive, that will keep the university in a good, positive light, that will make more students want to come to university, whether or not the students necessarily want a $200 raise. Sometimes you got to do things that are hard that the students don't necessarily want to do, and make the tough decisions, and just suck it up and do it, and be like, sorry guys, make sure that inform students like this is what's going to have to happen. If there's any other ideas that anyone has, please come and share. But I'm sorry that I have to make this decision on your behalf. But you know, the reason why you choose a president is to make the right hard decisions and not make the wrong decisions.
Okay, thank you. Chanel, do you have another question from Twitter?
Yes. Sorry, we're getting a lot of questions. Let me scroll. We're having a nice debate on Twitter as well, so if you guys want to follow that, it's pretty great. Okay, so one student asks, have you thought about how to get untraditional students like vets involved? It seems to be non-existent.
I mean, it's just the same thing that we've been harping on. It's just to reach out to those organizations little by little. They might be a smaller organization, but NKU Vets is one organization of the year, I believe 2 years already, or twice, or regardless, it's just to reach out to those organizations. And, right now they feel that they're not being heard. So why not listen to them? Why not actually go to them or sit down with them and have this meeting with them and let them voice out their concerns, and then have a plan of action after that meeting and take action on it. And, if we do that as student government, organizations will see, and then they'll come to us. And then it's just gonna be a better flow of traffic in this, bridge that student government is for organizations and the student body as well.
A few ways that, particularly smaller organizations or ones that just aren't particularly heard as well, like non-traditional students, is always just to make sure that they know that SGA forums, each one of those individuals, no matter how old they are or what circumstance, that is a student. They are willing, or they can apply to be in SGA through application process or the elections. They're even willing to attend the SGA meetings and voice their concerns. We could even toy with the idea of increasing our ex officio reports, to have someone sit in during meeting. I understand that you might not want everyone to come to you, so outreach, just maintaining really good, long-standing relationships with different parts of the campus, especially different organizations that might not have the means to actively participate in the legislative student process. We can always go out to them, and that's why promoting a open channel of communication, that would happen. It doesn't take but an email for something to get brought up during a meeting and to have a real honest conversation about it. But you have to make sure that door is open for everybody, and making sure that it's a welcome, they are welcome to do that, not necessarily it'll be steamrolled or not disregarded. So.
And as an orientation leader, I have the opportunity to meet every single non-traditional student that's coming into NKU. And sit down and talk with them. And that's what I did this past summer. I said, so these are the organizations that are here at NKU. What would you be interested in getting involved in? And I've sat down with one guy for about 2 hours talking about different organizations. And it's hard when you are a non-traditional student, because usually you're not 20, 21 years old. And a lot of them are having full 40-hour jobs a week, or taking online classes, and they just simply do not have time to get involved in organizations. There are some, and we really do reach out and try to talk to as many non-traditional students as possible. But there's only so many you're going to get, because they are so involved in so many other things like kids and family and jobs.
Okay, thank you. Any more audience members with questions? Yes.
Hi, my name is Sheridan. I'm not involved in SGA, but I have a question for both of the presidential candidates. Can you talk specifically about your legislative record and background in student government, and how you think, specifically, that this qualifies you to be the next student body president?
Actually, before, this was digging way back in the past. Before last spring, when I ran for student body president and lost, I was actually in student government for 3 years. And as a sophomore, I was a committee chair, and I was a University Improvement Committee chair for 2 years. And out of my committee, we passed the most resolutions out of any committee there was, except I think Josh Tutting over there beat me out in my last year of office there. So, I've had a lot of legislation that's come out of my committee. Like I said, the rideshare program was something Eric and I and Michael over there worked on when we were first elected as freshman senators. And that was something we take really good pride and honor in. And I've led a lot of different committee members, which kind of relates back to my job when elected as student body president. I've had leadership opportunities to lead these young senators, like when Justin was, and show them the ropes and kind of guide them through what SGA is really about and the main passion about that. And finally is to develop these people as leaders, because once you're gone, as old as we are here, David and I, when you're gone, it's good that you have somebody below you that that you can be comfortable about taking the position after you have left. So that's why I think I'm a good person for this job.
Well, this is my third year being in SGA, 3 years in a row. Might even repeat myself a little bit, but my freshman year I passed 3 different resolutions. I passed one to get a sidewalk to the honors house. There's now a sidewalk to the honors house. I passed one for a red box on campus. Red box didn't want to be on campus, so we got the next best thing, which was that little red box-ish thing inside Commons. You know, it was something, but it was passed. And then I was also on the syllabus bank committee, and we all know we now have syllabus, syllabi.nku.edu. My sophomore year, I was part of I was a secretary of administration, so I got to be on e-board, get that e-board experience, writing agendas and minutes, as well as keeping track of budget and seeing where our money was being spent. And this year I've been vice president, so I've been able to go to all the faculty senate and staff congress meetings, creating that relationship, creating that face that the faculty senate and staff congress see when they think of student government. They think of me when they think of student government, because I am that liaison of sorts coming to them. And so that, in a sense, in and of itself, is something that really qualifies me to be president, because I've been in it 3 years in a row, nonstop. I've seen the things we've passed the past 3 years. I've seen things that don't work, and I've seen things that do work. I'm going to push the things that do work until the dude things are done. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there seems to be a little debate on Twitter right now, so I'm just going to kind of take that and form my own question.
Okay.
This is to all 4 of you specifically, so you can just go down the line if you would like. With all of all the stuff you're involved in as students and all your majors and stuff, how would you balance your time, and how would you manage to be able to do your job efficiently?
I will start. So I am involved in presidential ambassadors, and I've been on e-board for that. And I mean, as a double major, I do take a lot of classes, but that is strictly on my choice. And I have worked it out with my advisor that I don't have to take as many classes as I have been, so I will lighten my class load. And because I mean, I'm busy because I choose to be, because I like to be busy and I like to stay on campus and do things. So it's exactly why I stay involved in SGA, and I want to be more involved. But I do understand that this is a huge commitment and it will come first, and so I will have to cut back on other things. I've already talked to my boss about that too, so I've already made arrangements so that I can commit truly to you guys.
This will be my only involvement on campus when I'm elected. I'm a part of a fraternity, but I take leadership roles on that without having a position. But this is it. This is my home stretch to getting done with college, and I figured this is the best way to go out and serve my fellow students the most I can. And I have no other distractions besides, well, school is a big distraction. But other than that, I'm fully committed to this job, to the Board of Regents, and to the whole Norse Nation. So that's it.
There will be several things I'm doing next year to make my focus on student government. One thing, I'm going to be taking senior status in my fraternity. That's making SGA one of my only priorities. People say, well, you're an orientation leader. You don't have time to be student government president. Orientation is a summer job. It ends in August as presidential begins. So I'll be putting aside my orientation duties and taking on the president duties for that, as well as stepping back from leadership mentors. And I'm only taking 12 credit hours a semester. That's all I have to take. I had to take 9, but I wanted to take an extra 3 of like tennis, sound mind, sound body class, and a voice lesson just to keep my scholarships. So basically, I am going to be committing my entire time on student government, because I have even more time to do it outside, since I don't have any other organizations really to be a part of.
Well, first off, I'll give you the layout. I'm also I serve on the SGA e-board, and I also serve on the e-board in my fraternity as well. I do work, and I do well in school. Being overburdened is not a thing for me. Time management has been my life ever since I was in 7th grade. I started working about part-time in 7th grade. I've been able to maintain, working 20, 30 hours a week and a Dean's List status every year that I've been here in AU with 2 majors, and I came in at a junior level, I think. So I mean, that's just not something that I'm necessarily concerned about. I like to manage my time well, and I like to work efficiently. So problems with taking on a little bit of stuff, and also this is a priority for me. I really love to represent the 16. That is.
Oh, sorry. That's what you meant. That's what you meant.
Yeah, numbers.
It's okay.
16,000, and I really like to see that. I'm not just representing like the 80 after. I want to be a representative of you.
Yeah, thank you. So if you guys have any more questions on Twitter, make sure to get them in now. We're going to do one more in-person question and then one more on Twitter, and then we're going to do some closing remarks. So does anyone have questions in here in the audience? Maybe someone on this side of the room, because we've done this side. Yes.
Josh Dunning over there was Senator of the Year 2 years ago. So
It's a
give
senator.
him a round of applause.
Hey, I just want to say thanks to all of you in the Northerner for putting this on. It's pretty awesome. As someone who works with the city level and state level government almost on a daily basis, my question is, how will you advocate for the student body and the university as a whole down in Frankfort? Because, you know, writing letters and making phone calls doesn't always work, and I think the Health Innovation Center is an example of that. So what is some of your plans to kind of advocate down in Frankfort, and like, do you have any experience with that so far?
Well, as obvious as I've said before, I'm an intern right now in the state senate in Frankfurt for this General Assembly, and I have made tremendous relationships with majority of the senators that I have there, that I work for there, and especially the Northern Kentucky Caucus, the one that pushes for our university's benefits and the things that we work with. And right now, I mean, it's just continuing with those relationships that I've already established is something that's key to this, especially for our student body. I mean, if they see that a student like me can perform so well by serving them, they can also, I can be a reflection of the rest of our student body that they can help vote for, especially the projects that we need for them to vote for.
Myself, I have spoken at General Assembly meetings, as well as I spoke on behalf of NKU at the Education Forum that was held in the Autobiotic Center this past January or December. I can't really exactly remember when it was. But I spoke on behalf of NKU for both those things, thus advocating for a Health Innovation Center, for the KERS funding. And while we haven't really gotten that, I mean, I can't say that I didn't do it, I didn't try. I'm known by many of the legislators as a guy who took a shoe off, because I am that dedicated. I'm going to take my shoe off for it. If anyone that was there, I'll tell you that story later if you want. But you know, I bring energy and I bring my voice and my power and my passion for NKU with me wherever I go, and I'll do the same thing in Frankfurt.
Okay, thank you. So one thing that someone brought up I guess this will be the last question. One thing that someone brought up over Twitter is kind of like administration and budget. So I guess how would you most effectively use the SGA budget, and how do you think it's been used, like being used now?
All right. As Secretary of Administration, I do the budget reports. It's what is specified in the Constitution, and I've taken kind of the liberty to more oversee it. I get about every month I ask the Dean of Students office to print us off an itemized budget, and every time at eBoard I highlight the things that I think that we might be able to conserve a little bit on next year, or somewhere where we can invest a little bit better our money. And in saying that, I have that experience to oversee the budget, and I do believe that we've invested our money pretty wisely this time. We've only, like with the decision not to do the rally for higher ed, that left us with a little bit of change that we're going to try and still pursue in this last bit. For next year, I would really like to see money more spent either PRing things more for the students or offering more scholarships. And we definitely have the means to do that. It's really just being a little bit more savvy with the money and really stepping back and saying, is this for SGA or is this for the students? And how is this going to make a lasting impact? And I'm not going to say it's perfect. We're still learning. I mean, our midterm refreshment weeks might have run a little bit more over budget than we wanted, but we're going to readdress that and say, how can we make something that doesn't last, a night? How something lasts for the next semester or the rest of the time? Even maybe constantly learning. I think that experience really is something that we need to keep within here, because mostly no one has looked at the budget as many times as I have. So,
and the midterm and finals week refreshments is something that we talked about this year. There's a really cool presentation board that Morehead University has for their SGA that's like humongous, folds out, like it makes up like a big humongous thing. It's really, really cool. And we're like, it would be awesome if we could have one of those. We could get more people like interested in SGA. We had this thing keeping attention. We're like, you know what? No, let's not use that money on that. Let's use our money to provide more things for midterms and finals week, so that to give more back to the students instead of using it on us.
Okay. John.
So as an accounting major, I'm gonna come off really weird, but I love budgets and I love dealing with money and finding out like where to put money and where you can be most conservative with your money and how to use money differently. And so I think I can bring a fresh perspective from that, and just going in through thinking like this is going to be part of my job, is dealing with budgets and finding out what to do with money. We mentioned before that I want to give the money back to you. It's SGA's money, it's the students' money. Like, we are for the students, so you should get it. We should find out more ways to give the scholarships and grants, just like Justin said. We should give that money back to you guys, and we want to use that awesome money to help promote and PR the university, not just ourselves, but different things that are going on. Help promote, you know, different organizations and their activities, help sponsoring them, just kind of using that money to benefit you guys, because it's yours and you guys should have access to it.
Anything else?
He answered it.
Okay, that's it. So as the final thing, we'll go back through and you get 2 minutes of just closing remarks, anything you think that you missed or that you would like to say. So since you started, David, maybe let's start with you, John.
So I want to start off by saying thank you to you guys for coming. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to John and probably David and Justin as well, to seeing all the people come out and showing that you guys actually care. And I just want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity for serving on Senate. And I feel like I can bring a fresh new take to the student government and to this position. I feel like I do have a different view on some things, being a commuter my entire time here. I've never lived on campus. I think that we kind of bring something different. He's lived on campus, I haven't. I'm a female, he's a male. Like, it's just, we are completely different, and we come from different backgrounds. And I think that that different perspective, non-Greek and Greek, totally plays off, and I feel like I can use that to help benefit you guys.
And as you can see, just basically keep re-emphasizing on this. We have an active plan here to reach out to the student body, to listen to your concerns, to ask for feedback, and to support whatever you guys deem as priority and take action on that. And that's basic objective of what student government is, and we're gonna try to bring that back, and we're gonna try to make action so that our student body can be unified and we can take all these things all in the same step. It's like what David said in his presentation with the election commission, so we can take this step forward together. And that's, I think, as an important thing for our student government, is to tie in the rest of the student organizations with us so that we can go on forward. With that, I really want to thank you guys again for coming out. This should really exemplify your commitment to our university, for having the voice to option to share it with us. And with that, hopefully you guys, please, no matter who you guys vote for, just come out Wednesday and Thursday. Tell your friends to come out and vote, because our main job here is to increase voter turnout as well, so we can get a lot more students involved with our with SGA. And with that, hopefully we get a yes way for Jose and keep this going. Thank you.
Well, just to reiterate once again, thank you all so much for coming out. There's no way that either of us can do it without your all's support, and without your all's votes, without your all's voice. There's no way I could be sitting here right now in the seat that I am as Vice President or Secretary of Administration if it wasn't for your vote, and we cannot do it without you all. And you know what? You all seen this paper that has been passed around today, and if not, you can grab a copy before you leave. It tells you pretty much everything that we're trying to push and work on for next year. And I'm tired of talking about it. That's what we've been doing for the past hour now. Vote for the people who are going to talk less and do more. Vote for Trump Wynne.
Thank you, Ken.
I'm the anticlimactic end. I want to thank you guys again. The fourth person to thank you, but thank you for taking this time to come and actually have a conversation with us. I really do appreciate every one of you who've either submitted on Twitter or just have gone up there to talk to us about it, because I do believe having this open dialogue is so important. And I hope that you guys will continue to spread this. The more it builds, the more hopefully people will get to turn out, the better representation you'll get. So please come out on Wednesday and Thursday, and thank you all again for being here.
Horse.
All right. All right, so I just have a few more things. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. I hope this helped you guys have a more informed decision when you go to vote. But with that being said, make sure you vote on Wednesday and Thursday. There are also a bunch of other candidates running for other positions, so make sure to vote for them as well. And also to make sure to check out thenortherner.com, where we have more information about the candidates' platforms, so you can get a deeper perspective on things. And also keep the conversation going. You know, just because we're leaving here today doesn't mean that the debate can't stop. So definitely follow us on Twitter and Facebook.